Okay, so we're back. I did look up the sort of founding of Rome. The legend of the founding of Rome involves sort of two brothers, Romulus and Remus, one of whom killed the other. But the point of the thing I was remembering is that they were sort of it's a whole. I mean, mythology is complicated, and not only because it's a lot of characters and people, but because the stories get retold with slightly different variations on it. It's a little bit like how Spider-Man has a story. Has There's like a comic book version of Spider-Man and a cartoon version of Spider-Man, and then there's a movie version of Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, and there's another one with Andrew Garfield. There's another one with Tom Holland, and so you end up like going over the same material 6 and 7 times, but in slightly different ways. So then you go, what really happened? Well, bunch of stories. I don't know. Um, the thing I was remembering though is that Romulus and Remus were in one of the stories. Their mother was like a sort of religious priestess who had sex with Mars, the god of Rome. I'm sorry, a god of war, and that the kids were abandoned and they were raised by a wolf. And so that's what I was thinking of was Romulus. The founding of Rome was children who were raised by a wolf. And here, at the moment of the destruction of Rome, we have Coriolanus, whose mom has some wolfish qualities. Uh, I mean, I love Voluminous so much. Um, okay, so let's take a look at Voluminous' whole thing. So she's talking. So she has a couple of arguments. Like one of her arguments is kind of guilt trippy by stepping on Rome. You're killing me. If you do this, you're killing me. But then there's an extra like you're stepping on my womb, which reminds him that like that's where you came from. How dare you treat me like this, etc., etc. Um, and then there's a kind of argument about fame, um, and about that you're killing posterity, right? That he's supposed to live on forever through his children, but by destroying Rome, he's destroying his family, and so he will have no future in terms of genetic descendants. But Volumina also points out that if he destroys Rome, he'll have no future because if you want fame, so you're admired throughout history. And this is, I think I talked about this, but this is a big thing in ancient Rome. One of the things they lived for was they wanted to do great things so the history books would remember them. We tend to want to do great things because we want to get a pile of fucking cash. Um, but ancient Rome was really motivated by sort of eternal fame in the history books. And she points out that if you do this, if you destroy your own city and your family, you'll be hated forever. Everyone will know you're the guy that turned on his city and destroyed it. You'll be the most famous traitor in the world. Um, and she says, and so she continues on, speak to me, son. Thou hast affected the fine strains of honor to imitate the graces of the gods, to tear with thunder the wide cheeks of the air, and yet to charge thy sulphur with bolt that should but rive an oak. Why dost thou not speak? Right? She's asking him. She's trying to. She's hitting him so hard with this emotional stuff. Um, he's uh, he's silent. He can't even talk to her. She's begging him to say something, but he can't even speak. Um, to imitate the graces of the gods, to tear with thunder the wide cheeks of the air, and yet to charge thy sulphur with a bulk that should but rive an oak. He's like throwing lightning like Zeus, and now he can't even speak. Thinkest thou honorable for a noble man still to remember wrongs? Daughter, speak you, he cares not for your weeping. Speak, thou boy. Perhaps thy childishness will move him more than can our reasons. Like he's so upset by what his mom and his family is saying, he can't even speak. And he's like a god throwing lightning bolts at the city, but he's lost that he can't even say anything now. All his power is going away, and this is really one of the most fucked up things about this is his mother has to depower him in order she has to shut him down in order to save the city and her life and the lives of her family. But when she does that, he will not recover. It's the cost of this is so high. Um, and she tries to get and she says, daughter, right, speak you, right? He cares not for your weeping, right? This Coriolanus says, because he said at the beginning, he says, I don't care what you say, I'm here to destroy Rome. And so she says, you got to say something. And she tries, they won't speak. She does all the speaking because she's Volumina and she's in charge. She said, there's no man in the world more bound to his mother, and here he lets me prate like one in the stocks. You know what stocks are? That's when they have this wooden thing, and you stick your head and your arms in there, and you get trapped. It's like for criminals. You do something wrong, and they put you in the stocks. Um, and then the criminals will like beg for mercy and do all this stuff. And she's saying like he's gonna let his mother beg like a criminal in the streets. And she's really hitting him hard with this stuff. This sort of mega super guilt trip thing. Um, um, Thou hast never in thy life showed thy dear mother any courtesy, when she, poor hen, fond of no second brood, has clucked thee to the wars and safety home, loaden with honour. Right? I love this guilt trip here. Thou hast never in thy life showed thy dear mother any courtesy, when she did all this nice stuff for you, like making you go to war, right? Cluck thee to the wars and safely home, loaded with honor. Like, I did everything for you. I made you go to war where you became famous and awesome, and you've never shown me courtesy. You've never even been nice to me. She's really hammering at him here. And it's an amazing bit. Again, Shakespeare is a great psychologist. And she really hits him with, like, she says, there's never, right, she says, there's no man in the world so bound to his mother, right? That's correct. Coriolanus is deeply connected to his mother. They're like two halves of the same soul, feels like. She put so much of herself in him. Um, Say my requests unjust, and spurn me back. Right? Tell me I'm wrong. But if it be not so, and thou art not honest, that gods will plague thee, that thou restrainest from me the duty which to a mother's part belongs. Right? Like, you should listen to me. I'm your mom. But he doesn't. He can't even handle this. He just starts. He turns away from them. Down, ladies. Let us shame him with our knees. They're going to get down on their knees and beg, which is a humiliating position for a mother. Because again, we talked about this last time. But you're not supposed to sort of beg your children for things. Children are supposed to beg parents for things, for blessings. And here, the Coriolanus is, she tells the women to all get down and beg for mercy, to shame him. Again, notice what she's doing to her kid. She's trying to make him feel ashamed. She doesn't understand the permanent and terrible effect this is going to have on him. Let us shame him with our knees. To this surnamed Coriolanus longs more pride than pity to our prayers. Down and end. This is the last. So we will home to Rome and die among our neighbors. Right? He's not changing his mind. So she says, okay, that's it. We're just going to go get ourselves killed now. We're going to walk off and he's going to destroy the whole city. Nay, beholdst, the boy that cannot tell what he would have, but kneels and holds up hand for fellowship, does reason our petition with more strength than thou hast to deny it. Come, let us go. Right. So again, you notice what she's doing here is she's sort of she's like, okay, I guess we're gonna die now, and then she's like, okay, let's just go. Let's go home and get killed and die and have that be the end of it. This fellow had a Volscian to his mother. His wife is in Coriolis, and his child like him by chance. This is a really mean thing to say. He had a Volscian for his mother. Now, earlier in the play, the Volscians are the bad guys. That's Aufidius's team. That's Gerard Butler's team. That's the barbarians. And she says, well, I guess I'm not his mom if he won't even listen to me. I guess this guy must have had a barbarian for a mother. His mother must be on the new team he's fighting for, because it's not me, because a boy should listen to his mom. She's pretty amazing. So she says, yet give us our dispatched. I am hushed until our city be afire. And Coriolanus says, oh, mother, what have you done? Which is really the best line in the entire play. She's won, but she's destroyed him in the process. Behold, the heavens do ope, the gods look down, to this unnatural scene they laugh at. Oh, my mother, oh. You have won a happy victory for Rome, because he's going to give in and spare the city. But for your son, believe it, oh, believe it, most dangerously you have with him prevailed, if not most mortal to him. Right? You killed your own son to do this. But let it come. Aufidius, though I cannot make true wars, I'll frame convenient peace. And then he says he's gonna try to like make peace, and he tries to be friends with everybody again. But like it's destroyed him. This plea, she tries to get him to feel bad, and to feel emotional, and to give in. But anger was, remember when she said anger's her meat? Anger was was Coriolanus's meat. It was the thing keeping him alive. And she's tried to get him not to feel angry, but to feel pity. And he's not built for that. And she has absolutely wrecked him. And he has nowhere else to go. And he knows. And he says to her, and in the movie, it's amazing too, because Ray Fiennes is like on his knees, and he has this big baby face where he goes, it's funnier without the glasses. But he has this big baby face, and he's so sad. But she's destroyed him in the process, because he can't handle this transition to this kind of new world. Okay, cool.